Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Zonya Foco, registered dietitian, and I've been registered dietitian, nutritionist. I've been at this field for over 30 years, and I am so passionate about what we're going to talk about today. Lose weight? Yes, you. If you've ever felt like you've lost weight, gained it back, you've never been able to really lose weight and make it happen for yourself in a really good and healthful way, well, hey, I'm really glad you're here, whether you need to lose 5 pounds or 50 or 100 pounds, whatever you're looking at. I am super positive, and I just know for sure that the one thing that I'm going to share with you today will make all the difference. If you have ever sat down and you said, I am going to eat things in moderation, I'm going to have portion control, and those chips, the next thing you knew, one chip led to the next chip, then the next chip, and you're like, why did I eat all of those? And you're so mad at yourself. And you're like, why did that food have more control than I have? Has that ever happened to you? I'm going to explain why that happened to you. And it's not your fault. You are going to understand how the brain works today, and you're going to understand food and how food works today, and you're going to learn the one thing, and it's all about the one thing. And if you want to get your cholesterol down, this one thing helps do that too. And if you want to get your blood pressure down, this one thing helps you do that too. And fight cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, depression, your brain, all of it. This one thing is pivotal, and I'm truly excited about it. Now, before I tell you what the one thing is, and then we're going to talk about the 4 mini steps to make doing that one thing easy and doable in our everyday life. Before I reveal that, I want to share a person who trusted me and said, okay, Zonya, I'll do this one thing with you. I'll trust you. I'll do it. And she took a course with me, and we did. And I want to share this with you. After 30 days, she wrote me this letter. Her name is Tammy, and she's from Hudson, Michigan. And she said, 1 month ago, I was tired of being overweight, tired of being exhausted all the time, and just tired of the lack of motivation, tired of not being able to sleep at night, tired of everything. And then on January 7th, something in me changed. Call it an epiphany, call it a peace of mind, call it a change of heart, call it what you want. I began to look at my health in a new way. I quit drinking Pepsi cold turkey. I began Zonya's course, and I began exercising on a daily basis. I love meeting weekly to learn new ways of cooking healthy, nutritious food. This is not a diet, it is a lifestyle change. Using the prescribed new recipes has me stepping out of my comfort zone to create delicious, nutritious meals. Some people may think I'm a little crazy, but let me tell you, I feel wonderful. No more processed food, no more pop, lots of water, and much healthier eating. My energy level is crazy high. I don't have the constant hunger cravings. My digestive tract is much happier. My mood is much improved, and I can sleep at night. Support is key, as this is a journey you cannot do alone. So far, I've lost 20 pounds with many more to go. That was 30 days in to doing the one thing. And then 1 year later, she shared with me this. Here's Tammy, down 90 pounds. Her cholesterol dropped 60 points. She can sleep at night, no longer have constant hunger cravings. Energy level is crazy high. Wow. Tammy, way to go. But what is the one thing? Was it give up sugar? Was it give up all animal foods and just go plant-based? Was it keto? What was it? What was the one thing? I will tell you that the one thing that Tammy Hauser did for a year to lose 90 pounds was she ate real food. That's right, real food. And you're going, no, Zon, there's no way that real, what are you talking about? She ate real food. And she lost 90 pounds? No, I'm not buying that. Yeah, I'm going to show you today that eating real food can absolutely give you that kind of results. I mean it. I mean it. Real food. What? So you have to give up processed food? You have to make all your food from scratch? No, you don't have to make all your food from scratch. You've got to understand the difference between processed and unprocessed foods and ultra-processed foods. First of all, what is processed and ultra-processed food? It's important to know the difference. Now, there's corn, minimally processed, and then there's processed. Maybe they put it in a bag and freeze it, or they put it in a can with some salt or not salt, and that's processed, but there's ultra-processed. Sometimes I'll accidentally refer to processed food when I really mean ultra-processed food. There's a big difference. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to not keep eating that one on the Doritos, right? That one's pretty tough to not keep eating and eating and eating. What is it about ultra-processed food? Obvious ultra-processed foods, you know what those are. But what are some less obvious ultra-processed foods? Yeah, we are swimming in a flooded food environment where a lot of things that look healthy are not healthy. But yet we live in an environment where we have lots of real food available to us too. We just have to know the difference. And that's what I want to share with you today. Now, you're going, Zonya, how could Tammy lose 90 pounds just giving up processed, ultra-processed food? What's so wrong with ultra-processed foods? Well, in a word, they contain obesogens. And you're looking at me going, obesogens? What is that? Well, they're compounds which cause weight gain by making you eat more. Sometimes they're additives. Sometimes they're preservatives. Sometimes it's just flavor additives like monosodium glutamate. Sometimes there's that. But for the most part, you know what it is? It's high in sugar. It's low in fiber. We know that those two things together are the crux and the main driving point that create food that we can't stop eating, and we eat more and more. You know that sugar, we have studies with mice and the brain, and we can see the pleasure pathways of the brain light up under sugar. We know that. Giving up sugar, learning to use fruit as our natural sweetness can go a long ways for us. Low in fiber. Anytime we don't eat enough fiber, we don't get all the really good nutrition that we need to keep a healthy microflora. That the good bugs in our body, we need the good, healthy bacteria. And that gets all out of kilter with antibiotics and with a high processed food diet. This happens, and we can turn that around by getting the fiber we need. Did you know that 97% of all Americans don't eat enough fiber in a day? And that depletes our microflora, and that affects our brain health. That affects our immune system. It affects so many things. It affects our depression levels, our anxiety levels so much when we're able to do that. So all these things run together. And high fructose corn syrup, that's even worse than sugar. Yes, it really is. So these are obesogens. These create added weight gain. And mounds of studies also show that ultra-processed foods, in addition to be obesogenic, they increase the risk of these diseases too. We don't want those either. Obesogens, we don't want them. How do we avoid that? Well, guess what? When you eat real food, you don't have to worry about obesogens. Really? Tell me more. What is real food? Real food grows from a ground or from a tree, grazes on the prairie, or swims in the ocean, right? It has nothing bad added in, and it has nothing good stripped out. Think of flour. White flour has the bran and the germ and the magnesium and the chromium stripped out. So many nutrients stripped out. What we're looking for is whole food nutrition, real food, as close to its whole natural state as possible. That's what real food is. And you think, well, these are hard to cook and I got to learn how to cook them. No, they're not. Fish is fast food. There are so many great ways to cook these things and to have a 100% completely delicious real food diet. What are the 4 steps to eating real? What are the 4 steps? I'm going to break it down for you, and I bet you could never guess. The acronym is REAL. That's right. So it's going to be easy to remember. So, with a little drum roll, please. What is our first? Our very first one is R. And it is read it before you eat it. If you're going to eat real food, you've got to know what the ingredients are. Why? Because even foods that look healthy and are marketed as healthy often contain obesogens. Really? Yeah. How? Read the ingredients. Ask yourself, is it real food or is it a food-like substance? What is it? Use foods with short lists of ingredients or maybe no ingredients at all, right? Real food is an ingredient, right? And if it doesn't sound like food, it's probably not. I love this. Never eat ingredients you can't pronounce, except for quinoa. You should eat quinoa. Here's a question for you. Can you judge a food just by its nutrition facts? You know, the nutrition facts, the calories, the fat, the fiber, the sodium, the sugar. Can you look at that and go check, 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 and say, okay, this is good? Wait a second. Can you make a decision just by that? Now, I do like to use the nutrition facts to tell me added information, but it's only secondary to the ingredients because you must first look at the ingredients to know what you're really eating. And as you look at these ingredients, it's like, is this real food? And I mentioned obesogens, but there's also another word that I want to share with you. There's emerging evidence that talks about excitotoxins, chemical food additives such as aspartame, which is NutraSweet, and MSG, monosodium glutamate, that they overstimulate brain neurons. And in short, they can alter the chemistry of the brain. And we're seeing this most notably in children, because children can be uber responsive to these excitotoxins, but they continue to last throughout a lifetime. And looking at what different people, how these excitotoxins can affect us. Have you ever came home with a bag of chips and you have fully intended to just, have a handful here with this, a handful with that, and not have, and just eat them in moderation. And before you knew it, within 24 hours, they were gone. Does that ever happen to you? There's a reason why. And it's not your fault. We live in a flood of manufactured foods that are hyper, ultra processed. And they have the best people working for them to make food taste delicious and overstimulate our taste buds and overstimulate the pleasure pathways of our brain. So what if we get that back? And how can we do that? I want to share this link with you. It's chemical cuisine ratings from the Center for Science and Public Interest. And you can check this webpage. And as you go there, they have a host of excellent information for you, but they also rate and do this chemical cuisine. As you see over at the right, what we have is you see safe and caution and cut back and avoid, and they have a lot of foods to avoid. In fact, right here, as you can see, I've gone ahead and taken all the foods, all the ingredients that they say avoid, your unshopping list, and you can take this list with you to the grocery store and you can say, okay, I'll check my crackers, I'll check this, I'll crack that, make sure that none of these have these ingredients. But I'll tell you, it's tough. I mean, you're like, you'll be there for hours. When what's simpler and a lot easier is to just eat real food. And you'll avoid obesogens. And you'll avoid excitotoxins. Really? Let's play a game called Name That Food. What weight loss product is made from these ingredients? As you look at these, it's like, that doesn't look like food to me at all. Is that really real food? Oh my, what could that be? It's a weight loss product and it's made with these ingredients. The answer is Slim Fast. And if you go to the Center for Science and Public Interest, you'll see that these ingredients are really not good for you. Is this going to give you lasting weight loss and be healthy for your life, help you fight and resist disease? Is it just going to be a trick to replace a meal for you and help you cut back on calories on that particular one day? But does it really teach you how to live a life? No, it doesn't. Alrighty, are you ready for the next one? What weight loss product is made with these ingredients? This looks even worse than the other one. And we thought those were so good. I've heard so many good things about keto. Keto does so great. People lose weight on keto. And when you look at the ingredients, it's really not. Either avoid or cut back, or certain people should avoid. You got a lot going on here. Wow. So find the level of real that works for you. I know a lot of people like bars. We need a bar. What's a healthy bar? Well, I carry nuts and dried fruit with me, and I have them in every briefcase. My purse, you'll see bags of nuts and dried fruit, and they're the perfect thing for me. Laura bars are another excellent choice. They just grind up nuts and dried fruit and put them together into a bar, and they're delicious. Oh my goodness. And then Kind bars do pretty darn good with their ingredients as well. So you can try some of these, and you can, now that you know how to read labels, they're always coming out with new bars. It's hard to keep up, but you can always look and use your newfound knowledge to be able to find something. For me, I stick with the nuts and dried fruit. It's an easier way to go. But what if I swap out a snack, for a healthier processed snack, right? They're always offering these. I mean, there's a flood of baked this and healthier that. And looking at these Cheetos, can you even tell any difference between these two? And I will confess, 15 years ago, to buying these for my son's birthday party. All right, I remember thinking, well, at least they're baked Cheetos. Is that a little bit better? It had a halo on it and gave me a little bit virtuous for getting something for him. And look at the calories, they're only 20 calories less. And, the carbohydrates are more, the fat is down. But does that make it a healthier product? No. Look at this, you compare this, and it's pretty much, you've got, I gave my son excitotoxins. Yep, I sure did, and he can live to tell about it. And I do stand here to say that you don't have to be perfect all the time. We do live in a world that we're not going to be perfect all the time, but I want you to know that we can choose better. We can do better. We live in a flood. We are giving you a boat. Climb aboard the boat of better decisions and better choices, because we live in a world with plentiful real foods available to us. That makes me so excited that there are so many things available to us in real food land. When it comes to snacks, I like to encourage you to choose nuts instead of chips, crackers, and pretzels. I do. The nuts have chromium. They have magnesium. Do you know that we are often 100 milligrams short of magnesium every single day? We need 400 milligrams. Most Americans get 300. That's our average. We're 100 milligrams short. And that lack of magnesium creates all kinds of cravings, lack of sleep, lots of problems in the body. And a handful of nuts every day can help achieve that. Do you know that studies show that people who eat a handful of nuts every day have a smaller waist? I'd like a smaller waist. Handful of nuts will help you do that. Nuts are dynamite, and you're satiated. They work really fantastically. So chips, crackers, pretzels. Am I known to buy pretzels occasionally? Yeah, maybe occasionally. If I'm going to eat a chip, it will not be one of those highly flavored chips like a Dorito or something like that has monosodium glutamate. You can get chips that are just 3 ingredients, and that will be a little bit better. Your not good, better, best kind of choices. But nuts are really the best choice. I will definitely say that, hands down. So there you have it. There's processed, there's ultra processed, and then there's real food. Real food is way better. I wanted to share this story with you. It kind of brings it all together about this whole label reading challenge, right? And at the grocery store, have you ever taken a child to the grocery store with you? It can be hard, can't it? And my son and I, when he was 5 years old, we were at the store, and he goes, "Mom, look." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Look." I go, "What?" He goes, "Look right there." I go, "What?" He goes, "There's Spider-Man." I go, "Spider-Man, where? I don't see him." He goes, "Right there." And of course, it was right there at eye level. And he runs over there, and he grabs this box of yuckity yuck, and he shows it to me, and he's like, and I go, "Honey, do you want these fruit roll-ups because they have Spider-Man on the front?" And he was like, and I go, "Well, you know the drill, buddy. We got to look at the ingredients, and we got to see if this is a grow food." And he's like, "A grow food?" "Yeah, a grow food." So he understands. So I proceed. I read the ingredients out loud to him. Each ingredient, I read one out to him, and he's to respond to me whether he thinks it's from the farm or a laboratory. So he is to respond laboratory, farm, from where he thinks it's from. So I read the first ingredient, he responds. I read the second ingredient, he responds. And here are people going up and down the aisle, and my son's going, "Laboratory, laboratory, laboratory." And I go, well, buddy, what do you think? Do you think this is a real food? Do you think this is a grow food? And he's like, no, Mom, it's not a real food. And it's not a real food. I said, all right, well, you know what? If we would buy this, because they had Spider-Man on the front, then we would have had tricked written across our foreheads. He goes, oh, yeah, we don't want to have tricked written across our foreheads. So we just put that right back on the shelf. I said, come on, buddy, let's go get some mangoes. Yeah, some mangoes. I told that story at a keynote presentation I did for the American Heart Association, Go Red for Women in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And all these women wearing red, and one woman brought her 12-year-old daughter to the event. And that daughter sat there and listened to my presentation. I even had her come up on stage for a portion of it. It was really, really great. And we chatted afterwards. It was really fun. Her name was Emma. And 3 weeks later, I get a phone call. This woman goes, hi, do you remember me? I'm Emma's mom from Jonesboro, Arkansas. I was like, well, hi. And she goes, I need to tell you, Emma has turned into like the diet police here in our house. I go, is that a bad thing? She goes, oh no, it's a good thing. She goes, let me tell you, we were at the grocery store and you would have been so proud. Here was Emma pushing the cart with her little baby sister, Julia, in the cart. And they're pushing it along. And Julia goes, and Emma goes, Julia, do you want that? Because it has Dora the Explorer on it? And she's like, uh-huh. And she goes, well, we're going to take a look at this and we're going to see if it's a grow food. And she proceeds to read each ingredient out loud to her little baby sister. And she made it age appropriate. She didn't make the sister reply laboratory or farm. She did it for her. She read the ingredient and said, laboratory. She did the next ingredient, laboratory. The next ingredient, laboratory. She goes, you know what? We are not going to buy this. You know why? Because we don't want to have tricked written across our foreheads. And she put it back on the shelf and off they went. Wow. It gives me a lot of pride to know that in our world, our flooded world of marketing and overprocessed foods, that we can have a 12-year-old teaching a 3-year-old what's real food. Now, if they can do it, we can do it. Yeah, real food. All right, thanks for listening to that. And just to know, read it before you eat it. You got it? Will you do it? That's step 1 of our 4 steps. Will you do it? All right, great. The next one is, drum roll please, are we ready? The next one is embrace superfoods. Embrace superfoods. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, because they're going to skyrocket the nutrients that fight cravings. Now, remember, when we read it before we eat it, we're eliminating some of those MSGs, some of those obesogens, some of those craving that increase our cravings for foods, right? We can't stop eating them. And what Embrace Superfoods does is it helps skyrockets the nutrients that fight cravings. I mentioned magnesium, chromium, all of these nutrients that we kind of subline don't get enough of when we're eating an ultra-processed diet. And what's a superfood? You're like, well, what is it? Well, it's a food considered to be extra beneficial to your health and may even help some medical conditions. That's right. It may be really high in antioxidants or high in anti-inflammatory properties or high in fiber, any of those things. As you look at them, like blueberries are uber high in antioxidants that aren't in other foods. So we often call blueberries a superfood. And nuts are really a superfood. And kale is so astronomical. Not only does it have everything that spinach has, which spinach is a superfood, but kale is even more super because it's from the cabbage family. And that is known to help fight cancer, reduce cancer by 50% when we eat a cruciferous vegetable every day. Why wouldn't we want to eat a cruciferous vegetable every day? So A, we got to learn what they are. B, we got to shop for them, know how to have them, and we can do it. It's super easy and delicious to do. Salmon, trading out. Tonight we had salmon patties for dinner instead of a hamburger. What a trade out. Salmon is so amazing with its omega-3s. Such an amazing trade out. And avocados. This morning I had avocado toast. You also call it green toast, and put some red onion on it and some grated lime on it. Oh my goodness, it was so delicious and nutritious to be able to do. Sweet potatoes are an amazing nutritious superfood over white potatoes, even though white potatoes are good for you too, but sweet potatoes are amazing. Cruciferous vegetables, like I said, we need to have them on a regular basis. And mushrooms, you know that mushrooms can reduce breast cancer by 62%. And they have really no calories, and they can replace meat. They can drive down the calories of a meal. They help with weight control, and they also help fight Alzheimer's disease by 50%, regular consumption of mushrooms. Wow, these are superfoods that they can do so much. And beets, athletes are going crazy over beets because they are increasing their athletic performance. Well, guess what? You and I need to be eating beets. So it'll improve our oxygenation and our energy level of our bodies too. So beets are amazing. These are just some samples, and they're real foods. Every one of these. None of this is processed foods. These are all real foods. So how do we increase these so that we decrease the bad things and we increase the good things? How do we do that? Just think of nature's candy. It's fruit. It's using that instead of sweets. Trade out. You're getting antioxidants. You're getting fiber. You're getting hydration. You're getting so much good stuff. Fruit can actually do that. You know how you're eating Skittles and then somebody offers you an orange and you're like, orange tastes terrible. Well, you're eating those Skittles, and those Skittles hijack your brain. When you get those out, pretty soon that orange is like, wow, this orange is really sweet. It tastes really good. That's where the money is changing your sweet acuity and learning that fruit, recalibrating back to nature. Say yes to one superfood a week. Go grocery shopping. Oh, is it going to be bok choy this week? What's the superfood going to be? Is it going to be Brussels sprouts this week? Is it going to be sweet potatoes? What's going to be the superfood this week that you're going to try? And research recipes, try it different ways. You'll be surprised and amazed. And a game changer is to put vegetables in the oven. Yep, put vegetables in the oven. In fact, this is one of the things that Krista Sanderson showed me. And Krista Sanderson's my co-author at the eatrealamerica.com, that website. She's the founder, and I'm privileged to be in partnership with her, and we co-authored this book. And right here's Krista. And much of what I'm teaching you today, I've learned from Krista. And for instance, when we met 6 years ago, she said, Zonya, how often do you roast vegetables? And I go, maybe a couple times a year. And she's like, oh no, you gotta roast vegetables a couple times a week. I go, a couple times a week. She goes, they make them amazing. Check this out. She taught me, you just take vegetables, toss them in some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then 400 degrees, 15 minutes, and then toss them, and then put them in for another 10 minutes after that. Toss them, get them to the perfect ripeness and perfect doneness that you would like. And this was, we did 15 plus about 10 more. And here it is. These are sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts caramelized. Look at the caramelization on these. Learning to roast vegetables will transform your life. But you can do the same with broccoli, and roast broccoli, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and roast them 15 minutes. And here's a trick. Is add a half a teaspoon of sugar to the broccoli as you toss it with the olive oil and the salt and pepper. Just a half a teaspoon of sugar. That half a teaspoon of sugar will neutralize any little bit of a taste that people don't like, a bitter taste that sometimes people can really taste in broccoli. I don't taste it, but some people do, like my son. And when you do that, it just makes it turns it into an addictive substance. So isn't that great? You just you put them out on the table to serve for dinner, and people are eating them like popcorn. They're all gone before dinner happens. That's what happens with that kind of thing. Embrace superfoods. So we are reading it before we eat it, and we're embracing superfoods. So we've got the bad things going down. We got the good stuff coming up. Our brain is getting really great nutrition. Our craving for foods that, our out of control cravings are getting very controlled. We actually yearn for a salad. We actually look for healthy foods. That's what we're hungry for. And it really changes things specifically. So are you ready for the third thing? The third thing, are you ready? Here it comes. It's activate flavor. It's to provide fine restaurant flavors that replace the addictive formulas of processed foods. When you're able to do this, it will revolutionize and change your kitchen, change your life, change what you do. Your husband, your spouse will go, oh my gosh, dinner is so good. This tastes so amazing. What is it? It makes these real foods the most delicious food of your life. How? All right, how do you do this? Well, you just got to learn to use herbs and spices and vinegars and mustards and sriracha. That's right, sriracha, learning to use that on a regular basis. And I think the best way for me to show you how to use a lot of these is I want to show you how to make this red lentil soup. I almost always love to feature lentils every time I talk because they're so easy to make. So we're going to make this soup today, and the seasonings, the flavors are amazing, and this Greek salad, so easy. And yes, it features those beets, those super beets, which is another superfood for you. So in the cookbook right here, red lentils, you can use green lentils, but red lentils make it really special. They cook it very quickly and easily, but these would only take 5 more minutes of cooking time. And I have made it with those. But in this recipe, it's interchangeable. Not in all recipes is it interchangeable. You're gonna chop up all your peppers and carrots and onions and garlic and jalapeno. And then you have your olive oil, oregano, cumin, and curry, and turmeric, and cayenne pepper, and coriander and tomatoes and reduced sodium chicken broth and lemon and either cilantro or parsley. Now, I know what you're thinking, Zonya, chopping vegetables is such a job. It's really not a job. It's really easy. And if you play some music, this took me 15 minutes to prep this. And Scott comes in the kitchen, he helps too, and it's time together. You know, it's just time together, talk about the day. Okay, now you can use minced garlic from a jar, or you can use dried garlic. That's okay. And sometimes I do because I'm just like, I don't have time to mash fresh garlic. But sometimes it's just so stress relieving to smash fresh garlic. So we're going to get the garlic going just for a second, and then we're going to add in all our vegetables. And we're going to try to do it without any of it falling on the stove, which was easier said than done. And so we got it all in there. Now already aroma is filling the kitchen. And we've got almost forgot to add in those chopped jalapenos. Want to make sure those are in there. And here's how I did it. Krista showed me this, that you cut off the end, and I use a plastic glove to protect my hand because one time I touched my eye and accidentally, and I got that stinginess in there. So you don't have to use a glove, but this is how I do it. And I keep a few of the seeds. Remember, the seeds are the really smoking hot part. But if you don't, I just have a few seeds there, that's like how we like it. And that, my friend, is how you do a fresh jalapeno. There's all those spices, follow the recipe for all the amounts. But what we're doing very purposefully is we're cooking the spices with the oil and the vegetables and letting that penetrate. This is a flavor tip that restaurants use to help really epitomize the flavor of those spices, is to actually sear them in oil. Next up is we're using these red lentils. You'll want to give them a quick rinse. And if you don't have a wire strainer, well, you need to go to order that right now and get that shipped to you because you need a wire strainer for your quinoa and for your lentils. Yes, you do. And then I'm using this convenient broth. It's processed, but it's not ultra processed. The ingredients are plenty fine. It's 75% less sodium. I'm also using canned tomatoes. Look at the ingredients. You'll see it's just tomatoes and salt in this particular brand. Sometimes I buy no salt added. And next up, we're going to let this simmer for 30 minutes. And meanwhile, let's make this easy Greek salad, shall we? And it's very easy. I love to buy greens already washed and ready to go. And am I using iceberg lettuce? No. Am I even using romaine? No, I'm using spinach, but you could use romaine if you wanted to instead. And cucumbers are a main star in a Greek salad. And I love these baby cucumbers. These baby cucumbers are just really the bomb, really. And then tomatoes, of course, you want to get some nice tomatoes in there. And in the wintertime, sometimes tomatoes aren't great. So that's why the beets in this recipe add that nice redness. Red onion makes a salad. It totally makes a salad. I remember when we thought we didn't like onion, and now it's like we don't ever have a salad without onion. Changes. Now this is Kalamata olives, and I used to hate them. I was like, no. I even told Krista, I don't like Kalamata olives. They're rubbery and they're real salty. And she goes, well, chop them up fine and add them to your dish. And then now this is how I like them, just sliced. And they add that little bit of like salt toastiness, kind of like bacon. And then it's okay. Roast fresh beets when you have time. Use canned beets when you don't. It's that amount of processing is okay. It's okay. And you can even buy no salt added canned beets if you'd like. Alrighty, so there we have it. We have feta cheese. That's going to bring the flavor of this over the top. What's our dressing? It's super simple. It's just vinegar and oil. It's a balsamic vinegar and this really good Eden olive oil, which I'm really in love with. But some olive oil, and the Fustinis is 18 year. You can go to fustinis.com if you want. That's a place where I order this and get it, but it's a really good in-depth. It's the 18-year balsamic vinegar. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the perfect dressing for that salad. So now let's go back to our soup, and it's looking really good. And you can serve it this texture, or you can use an immersion blender, which I'm going to show you in a minute. As soon as I add my lemon juice to this, I also almost forgot my cayenne pepper. So I got my cayenne pepper in there, and it's just the right amount of cayenne pepper to really bring this over the top. And then here's the immersion blender part. Like I said, this is optional. But if you have one, and you can blend it till it's completely pureed or just slightly pureed, which is how I did it this time. And that's the texture I like for this soup. And plate it up, put some either cilantro or parsley on top, serving it with your salad and serving it with, you've got the texture of the salad, you've got the creaminess and the complex flavors and the heat, warmth of the salad. Now, the soup makes a lot, and I wanted to show you this great trick. And this great trick is just to freeze it off like this. And wow, does this, you can get all the air out of your plastic. I've got it sealed all the way over to the left. I've got air escaping out of the left, and you bring it right up, and you get all the air out. Oops, some of the soup's starting to come out. Oops, stick back in there. And then voila, you have yourself an air vacuum packed, and you stick that in the freezer for a meal for another time. And that is nice and done. And I want to show you, here it is frozen, flat, freeze it off flat in your freezer. And this makes me so happy. I have another soup in the freezer. I love to just stack these up whenever I make soup. And that makes 10 servings, that soup, but I'll often double it, because while I'm doing the work, I may as well, and I'll get extras of these in the freezer. Or they keep in your fridge in a jar. This makes me feel so virtuous when I have a jar of lentil soup in the fridge. It makes me ever so happy. Here, you can put that back in the freezer, hun. Thank you. I mean, you look at my spice cupboard, and I have to have small jars down here. I can't have big jars. I have my big jars up here, and then I'm refilling them, and doing that. But all these spices, I'm buying more and more. And let me ask you this. Of all your spices that you have, let me ask you, were they a wedding gift? And how many years have you been married? Are your spices old? You can empty out the jars, and you can go to bulk, and you can get them refilled, tar the scale, and not pay very much to get fresh spices. I encourage you to organize them. You can do it alphabetically if you'd like, however you'd like, but I encourage you to get your spices going. And I want to share with you something. This is smoked paprika. This is something that is called for in quite a few recipes. So the first time I had it, I didn't think I liked it. And it was like barbecue chip flavor. And I was like, I don't think I like it. And so I was going to get rid of it and just never use it. And Krista goes, well, use half, try it half, and just, see how you kind of adjust to it. And sure enough, I have totally adjusted to it. And I'm like, love this. It adds amazing dimension and flavor to foods. That smoky kind of a flavor. So another thing is, I thought that I didn't really like spicy food. I was like, oh, is it spicy? This sriracha just gives it that really nice little bit of kick that makes food so interesting. And I'm proud to say that this is our third bottle of sriracha. And this is my third jar of smoked paprika. So never say never. I know. Learning to use your spices. Learning new recipes, using superfoods, being challenged, having someone work with you and work as a group and be challenged to say, we're doing bok choy this week. Bok choy? What are we doing in bok choy this week? What? And you start to grow, and you get out of boring diet prison of just having broiled chicken breast and steamed broccoli and a baked potato. Healthy eating, clean eating, boring. Spices are amazing. Learn to use them. Learn to use and embrace superfoods to boost the nutrition. So Going back to our slides, where are we? We made that amazing Greek salad. Your homework assignment, should you accept it, is to make that lentil soup. You didn't think you came to this, you were going to get a homework assignment. Oh yeah, you got a homework assignment. I'm giving you the link. Look in the descriptions. You'll see, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the recipe to be able to make this red lentil soup and the easy Greek salad. And I'm just going to tell you, I think you'll be surprised, really surprised. So there you go. Read it before you eat it. Embrace superfoods and activate flavor. These 3 things will propel you so far. This is what Tammy did to lose 90 pounds in a year, is using these recipes, trying this, revolutionized. She was so satisfied and felt so good. So what is, drum roll please, what is the 4th of the 4 things that I said that I would share with you today? And it's to listen to your gut feelings. REAL. Listen to your gut. What does that mean? Listen to your gut feelings. First of all, why? It's to master mindful eating for lasting weight control. Have you been hearing about mindful eating? Have you been hearing about it? Lots of people say you can eat whatever you want. You just need to be mindful. You need to not be distracted. Don't be driving. Don't be working. Sit down. Talk to people. Be mindful when you eat. Well, there is a lot of truth to this. A lot of truth to this. And yes, I want to encourage you to listen to your gut feelings. When I say your gut feelings, it's like ask yourself, am I hungry? Let me ask you, do you sometimes eat when you're not really hungry? Yeah. Do you sometimes eat just when you're bored or something like that? I encourage you to ask yourself, am I hungry? And then listen to what your body says. And your body says, yes, it's hungry, then eat. If it says no, then don't eat. Do something else. Do some other activity. Find activities like, some other things, whether it's calling a friend or cleaning out the junk drawer or organizing your front hall closet or planning a trip or doing organizing your pictures on your phone, doing something else instead of using food to entertain us when we're bored or lonely or depressed or anxious. Now, let me tell you this. This instruction is so powerful and so important. But some of you are going, yeah, I've tried that before and it doesn't work. Food still wins out every time. That's because you didn't do the R, the E, and the A. When you get rid of processed food, ultra-processed food, when you do that and you remove the obesogens and the excitotoxins, when you remove those, it's amazing how much easier it is to eat mindfully. Because then when you sit down and you eat, and the pleasures of the food and the textures of the food, I'll eat that soup and that salad, and then I might finish it with an orange, and I'm just so satiated. Have you ever spent all night roaming the cupboards like, I want something, I want something? But when you have that meal that I just described, you don't. You're done. You're satiated. You're so happy. Learning to do R, E, A, and L. You can listen to your gut feelings and you can do other activities because you're not being propelled by the obesogens and the excitotoxins. You have nourishment to the brain. Everything is easier. And all of a sudden, these recommendations that you've heard to eat mindfully become easy. The cool thing is that when you eat real food, mindful eating is easy. It's easy to pick other activities. You're like, you know what, why am I eating right now? I'm not really hungry. And then you'll go do something else. Whereas before, it was so hard. Yeah. And if you want to study to back this up, I got it. The NIH conducted this comparative study. They took 20 people and secluded them to a controlled location for 28 days. Each person was provided an ultra-processed diet for 2 weeks and then an unprocessed diet for 2 weeks. And the meals were the same in terms of calories, carbs, fat, sugar, sodium, and fiber. And they're instructed to eat as much as you'd like and then surveyed on satisfaction of their meals and surveyed on how many calories they ate. And what was the difference in the two groups? Well, guess what? On the ultra-processed diet, faster eating rates were noted. They averaged 500 more calories per day. And on the ultra-processed diet, they gained 2 pounds on average. And on the unprocessed diet, they lost 2 pounds on average. Satisfaction was the same, even though they naturally ate less. Wow, that's pretty cool. Real food really does work. And when you have a real food compared to an unprocessed food, it's a 500 calorie savings, a 500 calorie savings. You can count on that. Doing takeout at a restaurant or making that meal like I just showed you at home, you're going to save 500 calories on that meal. We have a lot of data to show that dining out, takeout, or cooking at home using real foods, 500 calorie difference in that total meal. And you can add that up. So let's just do that, shall we? How much weight can you lose by changing to a real food dinner 3 times, just 3 times per week? Well, we can do that math. We can take that 500 calories times 3 times 52 weeks in a year. And you divide that out. And guess what? You drop 22 pounds in a year. Wow. Okay. How about 6 times per week? That'd be 44 pounds in a year. Wow, you see how this goes, huh? You see how this goes. And Tammy, what did she do? She did breakfast, lunch, and dinners. She did it all for a whopping 90 pounds in a year. So there's a lot to learn. And one more thing I want to tell you, that these almond butter brownies, these are so moist and so delicious. And I'm giving you the recipe for these because we love to make loving foods for our family. We've got to be able to make chocolate chip cookies. We have Smarty Pants chocolate chip cookies. We've got to be able to make some wholesome, wonderful foods that are lower in sugar. They're not refined flours. They're actually good for you. They're high in fiber. And this is so moist and so, I can't tell you how good this is. But when you have one, and this is a serving, you're perfectly satiated. You're like, one is good. It's not like the box of brownie mix that you want to eat the whole thing. I'm going to tell you, it's just different, but it's still satisfying. So this is what real living is. This is what real food is all about. I'm gaining control with your food. It makes such a difference. It truly does. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to share with you the one thing is eat real food. And here is how you break it down. Read it before you eat it. Embrace those superfoods. So you see that we're getting rid of the bad. We're amplifying the good. We're activating the flavor. And we listen to our gut feelings. All that together will help you lose weight. I mean it. I mean it. I mean it. It'll help you lose weight. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you'll try that lentil soup and the Greek salad and the brownies. And I hope that if you like this video, like it and subscribe. And I thank you for joining me. Here's to your good health. Always remember, keep it simple and eat real.